Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. It is Sports Daily here on this Tuesday. Jacob Albracht, Tommy Castor with you. Chad Chambers producing. He's got that IHOP hotline for you. It is available for you, the show on KFH. Our video streams, of course, available to you as well, which you can find on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find it on X. Tommy and I send that back out each and every day, so you can find it there as well. Easy to do. That IHOP hotline is open for you, brought to you by IHOP, 869-1240. We're going to have some fun today. Game one of the Yankees-Royals series in the books did not go the way the Royals would have liked it to go. They have little late-inning heroics again, but not quite enough as Seth Lugo gets beat despite no extra base hits from the Yankees. It was death by paper cuts a little bit. Dan Hurley makes his decision. It is not the decision that we thought he would make, but we'll dig into that. A pretty seismic decision, I think, in the basketball world at both the NBA and college level. But Dan Hurley remains at UConn. Does that make you happy? Does that kind of bum you out a little bit if you're a fan of any of the other teams with the heater he's on right now? We can get into those stories and much, much more across the sports world today. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Man, I'm all right. I'm glad to be here. It's been a chaotic morning. You know, as a parent of 3 kids, sometimes you have plans for the way a morning's going to go or a day's going to go, and then you kind of get slapped in the face. And that's what happened this morning. Our 1-year-old woke up with a temperature of almost 105 out of the blue. I mean, it had been perfectly fine, and then that's a pretty high fever. So my wife scrambled to get him off to the doctor, and we think he's got strep throat. We're not totally sure, but that's kind of the indication. So then we have a toddler also. So I'm on toddler duty and getting him to where he needs to go, and literally got here just a couple of minutes ago. So I'm glad I made it in time. You and I were communicating. I'm like, hey, I might be rolling in right when the show starts. But you know, sometimes those things happen. You have to be flexible.
Yeah, I like to say it's all fun and games till somebody poops their pants, right? Whether it's a grown up, a kid, whatever it is. It just
usually it's me.
Everything.
Usually that's me that
right,
does that.
I know. I got a good story for that in just a second. No, I don't hope it's strep, but at least with strep you can get some medicine and get it under control.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they get these crazy fevers or whatever it is, and you're just like, what is this? And you kind of have to wait it out. So hopefully that solves itself quickly. One thing I'll say about kids is they are much tougher than we are. And so when they're sick, get, a little medicine, and they kind of perk right up a little easier than we do. We're big old babies. And I hope he feels better. I hate it for kids to get, especially in the summertime. It's not fun to get sick in the summertime. Yeah. I talked about it's all fun and games till somebody poops their pants. My son, my 5-year-old, I think had his first, I don't know what I'm allowed to say here, Jad. He had his first experience where he got a little more than he bargained for. I guess we'll say on a toot. And it was terrifying. He was like horrified in the bathroom. I wasn't here. My wife was. She called me like cracking up. Like he just starts screaming in the bathroom like, this is disgusting. Like, what is this? And so we've warned him before. We're like, man, don't push so hard there, buddy. You never know what you're going to get.
I never trusted. That's like a once a week occurrence in my life. Usually, and like I said, usually that's me. Like I'm usually the one that has to deal with that sort of thing.
We start in diapers, we end in diapers. That's just kind of the way it works. All right. So I think we start with Dan Hurley, and we'll get to the Royals fans in a minute. So Dan Hurley chooses college basketball over the Lakers. That surprises me because if there was interest, this does seem like it was the time to go for Hurley. We did see reporting over the weekend that the Knicks would be the job he would want. So, I mean, I do think there is merit, I suppose, to saying if I'm ever going to go, it'll have to be like for that job because that's the one in the Northeast. I think, I don't think anybody downplayed this because I think everybody's well aware of it. He's so connected to that region that it just seems like now, like he's not going to leave the region, at least on his own terms. Like they're happy there. They're legendary there in the basketball world. They'll just be good being there. So he turns down the Lakers, and it was a huge offer, 6 years, $70 million. Massive offer. The next coach they hire probably ain't getting an offer that big. I would say that. So it was the real deal for the Lakers. It was a move for the long term, not the short term for the Lakers. You don't make that kind of contract offer unless you're ready to hand the keys off. And I think that was the right approach for the Lakers. Now they were spurned, and you'll see in the national media everybody today like, oh, the Lakers aren't they're not in a good position, or they're not this, that, or the other. I mean, look, I think the Lakers are still the Lakers. I think Dan Hurley just didn't want to leave the Northeast, and his family's in a good spot, and he's happy at UConn clearly, and he loves doing it. And I just don't think you can, like, there's not that much to read into it. It's not an indictment against the Lakers. It's just that Dan Hurley's happy and he's not going to go anywhere. We see this all the time, right? Like there have been plenty of college basketball coaches that have been courted by the NBA. Bill Self's one of them. Mike Krzyzewski certainly was at one point. There have been a lot of them, right? A lot of the best have been courted that way, and they're happy. They're good doing what they're doing. And I think we too often in sports just pretend everybody's always going to take the most fame or the most money. And while that happens a lot, I don't even know that it happens the majority of the time. So he's good. He's going to stay at UConn. I'm happy for college basketball. I think that UConn is such a natural team to root against if you're not a UConn fan, that it does make the sport better, right? To have that team that becomes a target now for everybody will make the sport better. So I'm happy he stayed. I didn't think he would, but I'm happy he did. If I had to pick which I would have preferred selfishly as a sports fan, I'd rather Dan Hurley be this. I think this will make sense. I'd rather him be the big fish in the small pond in college basketball than a small fish in the big pond of the NBA. I want his personality out front, good, bad, or indifferent. I want it there. I want it in the headlines because I do think it makes college basketball, the sport I consume far more of now, more interesting with him in it. So I'm glad he stayed. I didn't think he would, but I'm glad he did.
Well, one thing is for sure, it doesn't matter where Dan Hurley is coaching. He's not going to be a small fish wherever he goes. I mean, his personality is the kind of where he's going to
in college basketball, the coaches are the personalities. In the NBA, the players are the personalities.
I get that. I get that. And that's, because you've got, such dynamic stars in the NBA, that they're always going to kind of take, that precedent in the NBA. I read this situation entirely wrong. I said yesterday on the program that I thought Dan Hurley was going to be a Laker. And I stuck to that until I saw the report that, confirmed that he was going to stay with UConn. I genuinely believed that he was gone, that he was going to be a Laker. But then I saw somebody on social media yesterday make the comment, which I hadn't thought about before, and it makes a lot of sense to me, that as soon as they knew that Dan Hurley, after he met with the Lakers in LA, went back to Connecticut, went back home and took several days, that should have been everybody's indication that he wasn't going to take the job. Because, you think about college football coaches a lot of times, or even NFL coaches, they'll go and they'll interview, and it's always like, don't let them get on the plane. Make them have that commitment, make that decision right there while they're there.
Car dealership, exactly. Right? Don't let them off the lot.
And I didn't think about it in that perspective, but it's true. The fact that he went home and took a few days to mull it over, I think that probably, at least for me in retrospect, should have been a sign that he was never planning on taking that job.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll never forget the Greg Marshall, Alabama courting here. And we had to go, and my assignment was to stake out the airport. we were aware of where a flight from Alabama, from Tuscaloosa, was going to land. So I went and I staked it out, and I was like, oh, what do you know? That is Bill Battle. And like it was so cartoonish. It's like it was almost like he got off this plane with a big bag of money, right? And so he's here all day. We're following that, and then we just get all of these details. We get I cameraman and I get the video that everybody wants. This kid, and I'm not a huge, like, that's not my style. So like already it was like, well, it's fun that we got this, but I feel really uncomfortable out here, just staking this out. That's not my personality per se. And so we get all that, and then he leaves. And then Greg Marshall wasn't with him, right? And then I think later, if I remember this correctly, and I could be getting this out of order, so forgive me, I think later his family may have gone, but kind of the same thing. The AD came, and then he left, and nothing got done. So it is almost like the car lot. Like, if you can leave as the buyer, you're probably going to make a much better decision than if you just stay there and make one on the fly. And everybody knows that. That's why they don't want you to leave, right? That's why they want you to stay, because it's like you get caught up in the heat of the moment, and then you just buy the car. You're Dan Hurley, you get caught up in the heat of the moment, and you're like, all right, fine, I'll coach the Lakers. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. So yeah, I think you're right on that. I think the fact that he came back probably should have told us something. But, he could also be going back to tell his players before he makes a public announcement, all that stuff too. But he's in college basketball. I like that he's in college basketball. Let's go to the KFH hotline. It's the IHOP hotline, and it is 869-1240, and that's where we find Anthony. What's up, Anthony? Welcome in. How are you this morning?
Yeah, man, you guys, wow. Unpacked a whole lot there. And I'm going to stick with the theme of basketball because I even alluded on my podcast. And I want to say, Jacob, it's ironic. I remember I sent you an invitation to be on my podcast. You said, I'd be glad to do that. And I ended up being on your radio show.
Was I on your podcast, Anthony?
Huh?
Was I on your podcast?
I sent you an invitation and you accepted, but I ended up being on your radio show.
Come on, Jacob. What are you doing?
Well, I don't know. I don't honestly, Anthony, like right now, as you're telling me this, I have no idea what you're talking about. So send me an invite. I'll be on your podcast. I don't recall that. How long ago was this?
Oh, it's been a while. And you said you would be glad to be on, but we never made it happen. And I just thought how ironic that I ended up on your radio show.
Yeah, and then you did Sports Day this. Well, if you're still doing a podcast, I'll be happy to jump on your podcast. But yeah, you'll have to. You've got my phone number now, Anthony, so you can just text me.
Right, but this deal with Dan Hurley, I was like drawing all the parallels just like you guys did, and I'm like, I think Dan Hurley is actually happy where he's at, and he's doing something that if you stop and think about it, because you guys haven't hit this yet. So I'm going to throw it out there. He has done something that we didn't think would be possible in today's era when you look at NIL and especially the transfer portal, because now a 4-year school is like a 4-year junior college now because players are not staying past 2 years almost. And you almost say the best person for this type of job would be a coach from a junior college, which, by the way, we see the report that Wichita State is going to be opening up with the road game playing against Western Kentucky, who, by the way, hired a JUCO coach. Great hire. But
yeah, that's
an
interesting idea. That's pretty fascinating. JUCO guys definitely have the knowledge to handle this.
Right.
If not head coaches, you're probably going to see a lot more hired as assistants. That hasn't been something I've thought about.
So with Dan Hurley doing what he's doing, it's fascinating. Back to back. When was the last time we said back to back? Oh, that would be a guy that went to the NBA, Billy Donovan, his Florida Gators. That's when players were staying put. So there's a possibility, and other coaches and fan bases may not like this, but there's a possibility that you could be saying Dan Hurley and UConn three-peat. Now what he's going to do is he's going to set a bar, because now other coaches are going to want to know what is his formula. Well, we might be looking at the formula, and it might be right up under our noses. How much did Wichita State retain on their roster? Think about that.
I know we did. I know we talked about that yesterday. It's not getting enough run, Anthony, and appreciate the call to Sports
I'm bringing that up because
we
might be on that we might be on that cusp because if you can maintain half your roster, and I ain't talking about just people that filled out uniforms, but people that actually got ample playing time, like a Quincy Ballard, Xavier Bell, Ronnie DeGray, B. John Cortez. These are guys that actually played. If you retain at least half your roster and that played valuable minutes, and then you can put some pieces with the team, we might be on the same cusp and nobody is even saying anything about it. So Dan Hurley could be good for college basketball, even though we on the outside could be looking at, he's the villain, he's the big evil empire, we want to take him. No, let him stay there in college. And also, in the same vein, the fact that the Lakers are going after him, you know what that also says? That also says LeBron James didn't have a say. Because we thought it was a done deal that J.J. Redick would be the coach. But they went for the splash hire, which means Jenny Buss maybe finally stood up to the big, bad boogeyman. So with that being said, thanks for taking my call. And I'm out. You guys have a great day.
Anthony, always appreciate it. Shoot me a text. I'll be on your podcast for real. I agree. I thought from the very beginning when Dan Hurley got this offer that told you the Lakers, this isn't a LeBron thing. I think that gets overblown, by the way, that players are picking. If you are a front office executive and you are hiring somebody's boss and you don't get the input of your best employees, you're nuts, right? You're asking for trouble. If you're in any walk of life, if the hiring parties, Tommy, came in and said, "Hey, we're gonna hire this person to oversee you. What do you think of them? You want to have a chance to have a conversation with them?" Like, of course you're going to do that with your best employees. And so I think it gets overblown in sports that, LeBron James has so much input on the head coach. Yep. Should that surprise us? Like, would you not want your best player to like the coach that they're going to play for? Because if that's a disruptive relationship, it's never going to work. Now, they're not the decision maker in it, but I would certainly want to know their opinion on if this could work. It would be a good question to ask. But yeah, I think Dan Hurley, it was more about just like a long-term relationship versus a short-term Band-Aid, which it feels like the Lakers have done a lot of lately. That was the shift I thought that we saw there. Of course, LeBron James is going to welcome in Dan Hurley. Are you kidding me? But you can be, and Anthony said, be the villain and be good for college. He can be both. He can absolutely be both. And a Wichita State comparison is way too far reaching, but yeah, they have roster turnover. UConn's built it on roster turnover. Guess what? Roster retention, I should say. And UConn's retaining a lot of their roster next year and bringing in some talented freshmen. They're almost kicking it old school, right? In the way that they've done this.
Yeah, there was a part of me, like I was kind of looking forward to potentially that chaos if Hurley had left, and then you have all these incredible players that have the option to hit the portal. You're so late in the offseason at this point that the coaching carousel is basically done. And so you've got to start that again. Like, it would have been just wild if Hurley had left for the Lakers, and it really would have put UConn in a tough situation. I think, one thing that's really important going back to the LeBron point is that it'd be different, I think, for the Lakers and Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka if LeBron was 10 years younger or even 5 years younger. If he's a young star, especially one that maybe you have locked in for a while on your team with a contract, then at that point, yeah, you want to pair that player up with a head coach and have that tandem for a while. LeBron, could only play a couple more years, and there's no guarantee that even if he does, that it's going to be for the Lakers. So I totally get it. If I'm the front office with the Lakers, yeah, I might check in with LeBron to see what he likes, his opinion, that sort of thing. But he certainly isn't going to be the decision maker. And he might have a voice, but it's not going to be the loudest voice in the room by any means, because they have no guarantee that he's even going to play for their team, when he hits free agency and all of that. So I do think that you have to kind of manage that a little bit differently than you would have if LeBron was several years younger and you knew you had him for a while. But at this point, you kind of even have to look at LeBron more as the short-term rental than what they want to do for a head coach. So I don't think, if I'm the front office for the Lakers, I don't think I'm moving away from that strategy of finding somebody that they think could come in and be the long-term solution to be the head coach for the Lakers. And I don't know if that's JJ Redick. I mean, Adrian Wojnarowski reported when this whole Dan Hurley thing broke that JJ Redick was nothing but due diligence. I don't know if that's reality or not.
I don't think that's going to happen.
So I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's, Borrega. I know that he's somebody that has been, looked at potentially, or Sam Cassell is another name that's been brought up. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me also if the Lakers maybe started to look outside of that group for maybe somebody else that could be a long-term fit for the team.
Yeah, look, at this point, I'll tell you this. I don't really care who they hire. It's not a needle mover for me anymore. That search has not really excited me that much. It's fine. Like, it's whatever. But Dan Hurley made that I get it. I get why because that was like, okay, let's now pretty much anybody they hire, unless it's another, college it's like, okay, maybe that'll work out for him. Maybe they should give our guy Adrian Griffin a call. But he got the raw end of that deal there in Milwaukee. All right, let's set up our first hour text contest here. We'll start with HTO and switch it up on you a little bit. We'll have another contest in the second hour. But right now, if you want to win some HTO iced tea and coffee, more than 25 flavors, East Wichita, West Wichita, and Derby, you can simply text the keyword tea to the short code 20357. So again, you just send a text message to this number, 20357, and all you need to send is the word T, T-E-A, and you can win some free HTO. Good luck, everybody. We'll have another contest in the second hour for the Wichita Open. So stay tuned for that opportunity. We'll come back. We'll get into the Royals a little bit when we return. Sports Daily on a Tuesday. It's Albracht and Castor. Don't go away.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy. have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily. It's Albracht and Castor. We were joking off the top of the show about pants pooping and kids. So if you watch the video stream, which you can find, by the way, on Facebook and YouTube.
Don't worry,
X,
you're not going to see anybody poop in their pants.
You
I want
won't
to clarify
see
that.
anybody poop in their pants. We don't think. Nope, I'm not going to make that promise. But you can see, you know, I'm in a home studio. Sometimes Tommy's in a home studio. Sometimes we're in studio. It's very funny that as we have that segment talk, and we both have kids, and that's what sort of brought it up. I'm sitting here, and sometimes you guys can't see it, but like right now in the summertime when we don't really have the kids are just kind of all over the place, my son will be like crawling around down here, you know, doing things, driving his trucks in or whatever. Boy, I'm going to tell you, at the end of that last segment, Tommy, I caught a whiff. I'm like, that wasn't me. What is that? And he just like, he totally just crop dusted me. Like not even like big time. We're trying to have a professional radio show here. And we're just getting crop dusted right and left. And it was it was rank. It was rank in here for a minute.
I mean, that could he's kind of toeing the line. That could very easily be like a big like indecency violation or something. Like it could cost us our license. Let's be real here.
I don't know. I mean, look, we follow Bob and Tom. I think farts are totally on limit here.
True.
I think we're okay. I don't know what terms I'm allowed to use. Jad's got a delay button if I cross the line, but it is, you never know what you're going to get on the video stream. You just, not that you can see a fart, but you can see my reaction to one that you probably can't hear on the radio. And because it was like it was very ripe.
It gives you kind of more realism of what's actually going on during this show, like a peek behind the curtain. There was one time, so we have a 1-year-old, but he was maybe a couple of months old. I remember I was doing the show from my home studio, and I was like literally giving him a bottle, like as we were on the air. I'm holding him because my wife had something going on, and there was no other option. And we're doing sports talk, and I'm feeding my kid a bottle, So it's like you kind of get a peek behind that curtain when you watch our video stream.
It's fun. You can find it. We send it out there. You can also, the other cool thing about the video stream, and we get this, you can comment there. And so if you can't call into the IHOP hotline, which we totally get, 869-1240, you might be at work, driving around. I get it. You can leave us your comments there and we can get to them as we're talking about things. So you always check that out. You can also listen to the stream if you're not by the radio at kfhradio.com. All right, Tommy, the Royals get out to a fine start, but it's a loss. Seth Lugo wasn't good, I would say. Like, not good, but not horrible. But it wasn't enough because Carlos Rodon was really good. I will say, though, the fact that the Royals kind of hung around and made some noise late makes you feel good. But, boy, Aaron Judge didn't play in that game. Stanton, like, it's going to be a tough series, and it's really going to be a big test for the starters the way the Yankees are hitting the ball right now. And the Royals offense is probably going to need to bring it. I'll say this about the Yankees. Before the season, boy, I didn't see any of this guy. They are good, man. They're deep. Their pitching, their starting pitching has been significantly better than people thought it would be. So I gotta try to split if you can. Got to try to split if you can. It's going to be tough. But the late inning heroics, I guess to my original point, that's a thing now for the Royals. Like, that's a part of their identity. You better get through all 9 because they're going to keep coming at you late in the game. No matter what happens this week with the Yankees and the Dodgers, if they can keep that going, we talk about their swag and all these things. That is a valuable asset for a team to be able to just never let up regardless of what's happening. And it's something I think within seasons that you see carry through too. Just like it's one of those intangible, becomes like a part of the identity type things. And I'm certainly glad the Royals have it.
Well, and look, it took him a while to get to Rodon. I mean, he's such a dominant pitcher. And he had a really bad year last year, but has pitched really well so far this season. And it took them probably the third time through the lineup before they were really able to get to him. Bobby Witt Jr., kind of led the charge as he typically does offensively late in that game. It wasn't enough to get the win, but I feel like, to your point, and we've talked about this many times before, the Royals are a team that it doesn't matter if you're talking about the 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning, late in the game, they're not going to go away. Do they have enough firepower to usually come all the way back? No, not all the time, but they did in the opening game against the Mariners, and that was a huge deficit that they came back from and ultimately won that game. I think we have to put this all in perspective. After last night's game, if you go all the way back to the very start of the Guardians series a week ago, they're 500 at the start of that Guardians series, right? They're 3-3 in their last 6 games. They split with the Guardians. They took 2 of 3 from the Mariners, and they lost last night. Now they've lost 2 in a row, so you've got to get that corrected. But this brutal stretch of games that, we circled on the calendar months ago, as of right now, through 6 games, they're at 500. So I think that if you keep that into perspective and you realize that, okay, it could be significantly worse for Kansas City right now at this point through this brutal stretch. You've got 3 remaining against the Yankees, then you've got 3 against the Dodgers. So you're halfway through this stretch of games at 500. And, I think that you probably more than me, I think you've said it a few different times, like, okay, the Royals are probably going to be under 500 in this little stretch of games. I don't know. I mean, if they continue to even just play like they have, which hasn't been great, it hasn't been their best baseball, they could finish this brutal stretch of games at 500.
Yeah, and that would be great. I still think they need to win. 4-6 when it all started, I said would be good enough for me, and which means they need to win 2 games, right, this week. 2 games, which means you probably lose both series. I mean, it could come with a series split and a sweep, I suppose. But I'm going to hold to my guns there that if they can get to 4-6, including the Mariners, Yankees, Dodgers, I will have been satisfied. If they get to a split, I think that is going to be like a major win for them. I don't even think that, like, again, to our conversation last week, I don't think it's like the standard or anything. I think that's major positive if they get to a split here, because the Royals right this second are not the best versions of themselves. So the timing on this schedule is unfortunate. This isn't the best version of the Royals that we've seen. We saw that probably last month, maybe. And it also collides with this just ridiculous schedule that they have to play right now. And I think it's okay to be realistic with that in the grand scheme of things. We kind of got to just watch what the Guardians do. You hope they stumble a little bit against some inferior opponents, because remember, they have a really soft schedule here over this same stretch. And then you sort of get through it and you move on to the next thing. You mentioned Hunter Renfroe. I got to the game late last night. I got to it about, I think, in the 7th inning. That's unfortunate. A broken toe, is that right?
Yeah.
He had a broken toe?
Fractured left big toe. He had 2 foul tips in the same at bat, hitting the same toe. Exited the game in the 4th inning, and so I'm not sure how long a fractured big toe will set you out for, but I mean, we're probably looking at some time away.
I think it'll be tough because if Renfroe's playing, he almost has to play the outfield. It's not like he can just be a DH. So that'll make that probably a little tricky. The fact that he has to run, I'm sure he'll at minimum have to go to the IL. But I'm not sure. I mean, we break fingers and toes all the time, so maybe not. Maybe you can go through it. Other injury news. I'm looking. Speaking of injuries, today Michael Wacha with a broken left foot is expected to throw a bullpen. So that's interesting. And we've wondered how long that might keep him out. Boy, they need him right now. They need his veteran stabilizing presence, I think, right now. And then Michael Massey is taking swings, it looks like, playing catch. He left the game on May 24th, so maybe they can get him back. Again, like, this is as much adversity as the Royals have faced, both with roster and all of these things, and Seth Lugo hasn't been himself the last couple of starts. Not anything to panic about by any means, I don't think, but it is worth noting as we look at these games specifically on how many, they need to be able to win. Tonight, you get Brady Singer on the mound. I have honestly no idea what to expect with Singer on the mound. No clue. I'll say I'm concerned because he gives up a lot of traffic, and you're going to face this team and almost certainly know that they're going to put the ball in play. I would just say this, Tommy. I'm not going to bet the Royals tonight. And we bet them last night. Look, we had the Lugo money line. We love the Lugo money line. We tried to get to it. And it didn't happen. So, man.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, they've got to get at least one. I felt like as long as they don't get swept in a 4-game set with the Yankees, I feel okay about it. Then of course you're going to need to take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers if you're going to end up at 500. But I don't want to see a sweep at home against the Yankees.
I don't think they're going to get swept at home. I'm just not sure. I think I'm not overly confident tonight, but I mean, you look at it, Tommy, it's going to be Singer, Lynch, Marsh.
Yeah.
Kind of needed that one last night. They're not going to get it. You'll hear the game tonight right here on KFH. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock, 7:10 first pitch. We'll have more on the Royals, more on this specific game as we make our way through into the next hour. So we've got a special guest in the next segment. Tommy will get us set up with all of that when we come back. Don't forget your text to giveaway first hour contest is in play right now. You can text the word T to short code 20357 to win some HTO. We'll have a different giveaway in the second hour in our texting contest, so stay tuned for that. It's Albracht and Castor. It's Sports Daily on a Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments on the road to the championship. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Welcome back into Sports Daily, everybody. It's Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor. We are making our way through a Tuesday. More on the Royals in just a little while. We'll tell you more about the Wichita Open in just a little while. Right now, though, Tommy, we got a special guest joining the show.
Yeah, we do. We've got Jeff Longwell. Everybody, of course, knows Mr. Longwell, and we're excited to have him here on the program. The Adopt a School golf tournament with Rusty Eck Ford and the Eck Auto Group takes place just a couple of weeks from now. It's always a huge event, and so we're really excited to have Jeff on the program today. Mr. Longwell, welcome in.
Well, thank you. It's actually Monday the 17th, so the Monday after the Wichita Open finishes, we start, and it's just a big week for golf.
It is. Of course, I've played in that tournament a few different times, and what I love so much about it, Jeff, is always the excitement of the area teachers that are on every tee box and on every green out at Reflection Ridge, knowing that, this money is being raised for them, for their classrooms, to help out their students, all of that. And this is a tournament that's been around for a long time. So for people that are, maybe they're not super familiar about the Adopt a School golf tournament and the impact that it makes in the community, really, I guess, talk a little bit about what that does for teachers all across the metro.
Well, it's the 28th year for Adopt a School, and this year will be the largest tournament ever. We hope to raise $130,000 this year. The area teachers sign up first come, first serve, and this year we had an abundance of volunteers before we were able to shut off the portal. So we're going to have over 200 teachers out the day of. They will get $400 each in their check written out to them. They can use it however they want to use it because we know they use their own money in the classroom all the time. So this gives them the ability to have $400 for the school year and buy supplies and a number of things for their classroom. So teachers need it now more than ever. Typically in years past, it's taken as much as 3 to 4 months to fill all the teacher slots. This year we filled them in 8 hours.
Wow.
That's incredible. So the golf is full, but people can still help, I assume, Jeff, and for a great cause. So, if the golf is full and it's a great cause and people do want to help out and participate, how can they do that? What's the way they can do that?
So we always can use more sponsor dollars. And if you want to come out and see what the tournament's about, certainly come out on the 17th. We'll be there from about 7 in the morning until about 3:30 in the afternoon. We hold an auction right after the golfers get back in. But www.adoptaschoolkansas.com is our website, or you can call out here to Rusty Eck and ask for me, and we can visit about it. But we've really grown this from averaging about $55,000 in money raised for teachers to this year near $130,000. So with the generosity of great sponsors, we will continue to grow this.
Before we let you go, Jeff, you've talked a little bit about the impact that this tournament makes on teachers and their classrooms and all of that. And, I know that you obviously have been incredibly involved as a former mayor of Wichita with, not just the community and obviously our school district and the school system and all of that. So firsthand, your experience with this tournament, what have you seen as far as working with these teachers with this golf tournament and helping them get the supplies that they will need for their students the next school year?
Oh, there's no question that the teachers need more support and help in the classroom. I'm fortunate enough to be involved with education for many, many years. I served 12 years on a local school board, and now my new job is going to place me in a position where I can continue to help. I'm the chairman and director of GC Charities, the charity arm of Ruffin's new casino in Park City. And so my job is just to give money away to, groups that are in need of assistance. And so I'll continue. I used to have to take people's tax dollars and give it away. Now I don't have to take away their tax dollars.
It's that's probably a more popular thing to do, I would imagine, than maybe before.
Yeah, but you know what? The Eck family's always believed in helping teachers, and that's why they started this tournament 28 years ago. And so they just continue to build on something that's really grown legs and doing an awful lot of good. I wish we had more money. There's certainly more teachers out there that could use the help. We had a waiting list this year. We couldn't include them all, but great cause. We're going to have a couple of area superintendents out there this year, so they're going to get to see firsthand of the generosity of the golfers and sponsors. And we make it a fun day. We feed them, we have drinks, we have just a great time. Again, great sponsors that help us feed everybody, including the teachers. So we'll feed lunch to close to 500 people on the 17th.
It's always a fun tournament. Like I mentioned, I've had the opportunity to play in it for a few different years. And it's always great. And it sounds like it just continues to grow and get bigger and bigger. And obviously the registration for golfing is full for this year, but there's always 2025. That website is adoptaschoolkansas.com. If you want to get involved, if you want to try to find a way to help out with donations and sponsorships and all of that, happening on the 17th at Reflection Ridge. Jeff, thanks so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And thanks for all you guys do.
Well, thank you all very much. Appreciate the opportunity to visit and share our story.
Jeff Longwell
Good
at
stuff.
Auto Group here on Sports Daily.
Check it out. Support those teachers. Always need our support. They're taking care of the next generation. Appreciate Jeff Longwell stopping by here at Sports Daily. All right, coming up, hour number 2, we'll get you another giveaway. It has to do with Wichita Open, so stay tuned for your opportunity there. You can leave us your comments, like Argentina's Empanadas, who says, this show stinks. He was talking about our prior Earlier in the show, I got crop dusted by my 5-year-old son while
He's not
we were on
wrong.
the air.
I mean, he's not wrong on
in either sense.
Yeah, on a variety of levels.
It's a wide spanning comment, but you can also leave comments there. You can call in on the IHOP hotline 869-1240. More on the Royals and everything else in the sports world. Don't go away. Sports Daily, hour number 2 coming up.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free. have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is hour number 2. It is Sports Daily. We are Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor. I'm Jad Chambers producing, and we are glad to be a part of your day. Thanks for joining us here in the second hour. It's been a fun show. You've got a chance to win some tickets to a part of the Wichita Open coming up in this hour, so stay tuned for your opportunity there. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Royals. We mentioned the Dan Hurley news. You can chime in on that if you would like. Lots of good stuff coming. Tommy, I don't know if you've seen this. We haven't talked about this one. The Bengals are facing some wide receiver decisions. They've got one showing up, one not. They've got 2 of them. I kind of want to – this is sort of on the heels of Justin Jefferson. We're waiting on CeeDee Lamb. There is not really a parallel to these big contracts and winning Super Bowls. So what do you do if you're these teams? We've talked about it a little bit in the past, but we can get into that in this hour as well. Caitlin Clark, I see in the headlines. I think we've covered the Caitlin Clark thing. It's so interesting to me to see the difference of opinions on the Olympics thing with Caitlin Clark. And, is it do you make the marketing decision or do you make the basketball decision? Tommy and I are on each side of that, part of the fence with that, but it is so interesting and unique to me to see this sort of following. Is there a more, Tommy, right now, is there an athlete that is having a bigger impact on their sport, far-reaching, than what Caitlin Clark is currently having on women's basketball? I don't think there is. I think it is the biggest impact athlete in the world at the moment, and which is why I just can't believe they're not going to put her on the biggest stage for that sport. But it's been fascinating, and it has translated from what we saw in college.
Well, I'll take it a step further. It's not just that she is the biggest athlete impacting her sport. She's the biggest athlete in general across the world right now. I mean, it reminds me of, I think maybe most recently, Shohei Ohtani was that guy, that kind of transcended baseball, and it was a worldwide phenomenon and all of that. I think this is similar to that. And every once in a while you get
way bigger, don't
really,
you?
No, I don't, because I mean, think back to when Shohei first burst onto the scene and really started making that impact. It was bigger than sports. I think it was bigger than baseball. I think some of it was where he came from to here. And it was, you had people in other countries that were huge on it and things like that. I think it's similar. I think that was probably the last athlete.
So I would say that it was bigger than baseball, but I don't know that it was bigger than sports. And this has always been the thing about Caitlin Clark for me. Caitlin Clark's draw, and the reason it's so large and unique and such a unique opportunity, is that it has become bigger than sports. So Shohei Ohtani, yes, was bigger than baseball. Like baseball fans, sports fans, we were all paying attention to this. It was wild. Caitlin Clark's reach is to non-sports fans. If I asked my wife right now, who is at the stage of her life that she pays attention to nothing in sports, maybe the Chiefs when they're playing on a Sunday. If I asked her who Shohei Ohtani was, she would have no idea, no clue whatsoever. If I asked my 9-year-old daughter, do you know who Shohei Ohtani is? She would say no. She has no clue. If I asked her who Caitlin Clark was, she would absolutely know. My wife would absolutely know. Everybody knows. Like, everybody knows who Caitlin Clark is and about Caitlin Clark. And a lot of those people are formulating opinions and have thoughts and takes. I think within the sports world, we see athletes do this, right? Otani is probably the best example where it's just like we can't get enough of it. But what we're seeing with Clark is far larger, I think, even than that. Jon Stewart had a basketball analyst on his show last night, right? And I know that Monica McNutt is a really, really good analyst. And she even said, I'm here because of Caitlin Clark. And Jon Stewart did a great job of saying, no, you're awesome at what you do. And she is awesome at what she does. But what you're seeing is a pop culture crossover, right? And it's awesome. And it's such a unique opportunity. I don't know that we've had one like this since Tiger. I mean, it was Jordan before Tiger, I think. And it was probably, from what I've been told, and it goes back before my time, it was Ali before Jordan. So, like, if I'm trying to look at this and understand it, at least in my lifetime, it's been Jordan, Tiger, and now Caitlin Clark. And maybe the home run chase of the late 90s would be the other one I think that mixes in there. The McGuire-Sosa home run chase of 98 or whatever that was. I'm just trying to think of those times where everybody's attention is on a thing in sports. You know, the Super Bowl, that happens, of course, every year. But it's unique. It doesn't happen very often. And so I just want them to continue to take advantage of it. And she's not going to be on the Olympic team. And who knows, maybe her not being there will be enough that it keeps the attention on it. Maybe. I don't know. But it certainly won't be as much as it, had she been there. But it's in the past, and we'll see. I don't know how long it lasts. That's my next question on this. My first question, Tommy, was, does it translate from college to the WNBA? It clearly has. And so now my next question is, how open is this window? Is it as relevant the next time the Olympics roll around? Because we don't know that. That's totally unpredictable too. Like, does it last forever? Very well could. Steph Curry, though, who was not quite, he didn't last forever as far as that early impact that he had. That didn't, that's not still the case as it was in the beginning. So I think it's fascinating. I think it's a fascinating study on sports and the impact on our culture. And she's right there. I mean, she is right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you have any faith in her game and her impact currently, then I think that faith should be there, that in 4 years with the next Olympics, that she'll be there as well. I mean, I think that you have to have faith in that. And I do. I wholeheartedly believe that her impact and what she brings is long lasting. I mean, it went all the way through college, and it's continued in that transition from college to the professional ranks. Keep in mind, it's not like Iowa won a national title, and she was still the biggest thing in the world. I mean, they didn't win. They didn't go all the way when she was there. It doesn't matter. I mean, her talent was what drew people to watch. I think that's going to continue in the WNBA. It's not like she's really like lighting the world on fire in the WNBA right now, because there is a transitional period, but it's because of everybody knows that she's the whole package, and everybody knows what she can bring. And so I think that, as you're kind of progressing in this path of her career, I've got no doubt that that's going to continue, and that's got staying power. I really don't. I don't think it's the same thing as Steph Curry. Steph Curry was and is a phenomenal shooter, but it's, not that he was a one-trick pony, because he was talented in other ways.
He wasn't.
But that was the appeal, right? And Caitlin Clark,
his appeal transformed the sport, right? Like, he wasn't ever the best player.
Yep.
He's a Hall of Famer, maybe the best shooter we've ever seen.
Caitlin Clark's never been the best player. Caitlin Clark is the best player, right?
No,
you don't think so?
In basketball right now,
in women's basketball, I mean, yeah. Who's better than Caitlin Clark?
Who's better than Caitlin Clark in women's basketball? I think all the Olympic athletes are better right now. Now, were they better college play? I do think it's. I think it's fascinating.
Not who's better? Who's more talented? It's Caitlin Clark.
It's still the other play. She's not more talented than Asia Wilson. Okay, I don't like. She's not. I don't know that she's more talented than Sabrina Ionescu. Like, I don't know that she is that yet. She's not nearly the shooter Ionescu is. Ionescu just took Steph Curry toe-to-toe in a 3-point shooting contest. Yeah. Caitlin Clark is not doing that yet. Now, is Caitlin Clark? I was never of the belief that Caitlin Clark was even the best college basketball player of all time. Best scorer, perhaps, right? But she played it in the most interesting way we had ever seen, which is what Steph Curry did, right? But I think we're to a point now where stylistically, I think it looks like a little bit of Steph Curry, but impact-wise, I think we're getting back to what Jordan did, right? But Jordan also then became the best player. Caitlin Clark might become the best player. She'll certainly become one of the best players, but I have not heard one analyst, Tommy, that watches and consumes and reports on and knows the WNBA that thinks Caitlin Clark is more talented than any of the players that made the roster. And so that's where you get this complication of what goes into the decision of putting her on or off the roster, because there are more talented. I mean, she's a rookie. Like what rookie has ever come into a league and immediately been the best player? Maybe LeBron James. He wasn't the best, but he was one of the best. I don't even think Caitlin Clark's to that level yet. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. That's the crazy part about all this. Like it doesn't matter if she's the best player. Right? Well, I should say it doesn't matter if you're on my side of this discussion, which is I don't even care. Get her on the roster, because you don't, not only in women's basketball do you not get the opportunity like this to grow your sport, across sports you don't get the opportunity like this to grow your sport very often. It always comes down to, do you make I think Tony Kornheiser said this yesterday and it was perfect. Is it a marketing decision or is it a basketball decision? I would absolutely make it a marketing decision. If it's a basketball decision, the roster as it's constructed is the best basketball roster that they can put together.
That's not why USA Basketball selects a roster. They're not selecting it based on the marketing opportunities.
They're selecting it. Well, right. Okay.
They're selecting it based on the best chances to win a gold medal.
Winning a gold medal. 100%. So I agree with that. My point is, and I think the people that are on with me, which is it's about 50-50 from what I've seen. I don't know that there's a right, wrong answer here. Just sort of how you look at it. They're going to win gold anyway, right? They're not in any danger of not winning the gold medal. This is an incredible roster. To not have one of them and to have Caitlin Clark in there is not going to keep Team USA from winning a gold medal. And I think sometimes, again, it's what makes this so interesting is we just don't see it that often. Okay. Why were we so much more intrigued, Tommy, by the Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire home run chase than we were for Aaron Judge's? I don't have the answer to that, by the way. I have no idea. You can't predict this stuff. I can't tell you and predict why that was such a big deal. And Judge's, while was a big deal, was not nearly the cultural event of the McGwire Sosa chase. I just don't. I think this stuff comes like you can't know when it's going to happen. You're lucky if you get it to happen one time ever in your sport, and right now you have that. So if you're going to win gold anyway, and the the Olympics are they're feigning in popularity, like all of these things like that just feels like a missed marketing opportunity that is not going to cost you. And then there's the flip side. And I understand the flip side. And I don't think anybody's wrong for saying she's got to be one of the best players to make the Olympic roster. I'm fine with that. I don't agree with it, but I'm fine with it. And that's, I think, what we have here is they're like, nope, we're going to put the best players together that we can. And she's not there yet, because I don't think she's there yet either. And she's not playing at that level. So, okay, fine. But I would just say I would make the other decision and I would put her on that roster.
I think that she is there yet. So I'm actually going to go the opposite direction. I think that she is there from a basketball perspective. And okay, it's really hard, I think, because I believe she's the best player in women's basketball in general. I just do. I believe that from watching her college career. I'm talking about everything combined. Women's basketball in general, she's the best player, in my opinion. So I think that she could absolutely make the roster. And I think that she could. I think the one question that you have to ask is, can she contribute Like, are there chances for this women's team, better chances to win a gold medal if Caitlin Clark is on the roster? Do they have a better chance to win a gold medal with Caitlin Clark on the roster? I think the answer is probably yes. That would be my opinion. I think that they would be maybe even if it's like 1% more likely. I think that they are, with what she could even contribute in just a couple of minutes on the court, I think that they would be that much more likely to win a gold medal. So I'll even go that opposite direction and say, from a basketball perspective, she's probably there. But I also recognize, and this is kind of where I land, I don't have a problem with her not being on the team, solely because I believe she has staying power. And I believe that in 4 years, she will maybe be the leader of this team. 8 years, probably be the leader of this team. 12 years. Like, I think that longevity is going to be there for Caitlin Clark. So I don't have a big problem with her only a couple of months into her professional career not making the Olympic roster. One thing that I didn't realize until, we talked about this yesterday on the show, and I looked it up. I looked it up after the show. I didn't realize that, she was in college and playing, for Iowa when the tryouts were going on for the national team. So it's not like she really was able to go through that process anyway because of the scheduling of all of that. So I'm okay with it. I mean, she's had a cup of coffee in the WNBA, regardless if I think she's the best player or not. And I do, I'm okay with her not being on this particular roster. And then from a marketing perspective, I get it. I do marketing is what I do all day long. So I understand the appeal, but that's not the reason why you're picking a team. You're picking a team based on how you feel like you can win a gold medal and compete. And so I'm okay with it.
I think it should be. I think in this circumstance, it should be. I think I can accept that I'll project that she could become the best player, but man, I don't think she's anywhere near it. I mean, what is it that Caitlin Clark does? Like, what's her thing? It's scoring, right? And it's shooting. Right now, she's the 15th leading scorer in the WNBA. She is shooting a very, not anywhere near a 3-point shooting percentage. Her efficiency, because she's a point guard, her efficiency is 23rd. Her assists are high, but so are her turnovers. I think she's leading the league in turnovers. I don't think she's there yet. She's just not, like, you can't, she could be, and she might become that, but she's not there. I think the basketball decision for Team USA was an easy one. She's not ready for this. From a basketball perspective, you can convince me of that all day long. Her numbers and her success right now in the WNBA, she's a rookie. Like, I'm not saying it should be, and I'm not saying it can't be. I'm just saying it's not right now, but I don't care. It's not like she's getting run off the court, right? I think she's holding her own as a rookie very well, quite frankly. Playing for a bad team, I think she's hanging in there just fine.
I think she is too.
And progressing just fine. But she's not one of the best 12 players right now in women's college in women's basketball. She's just not. She's, especially as a point guard, she's not. These are some of the best players. These are Hall of Famers out there. It's unreasonable to expect her to be that right now. She will be. But again, for me, it doesn't matter. Put her on the roster because you're going to win gold anyway.
Are you? I mean, do we know that for sure? Do we know that for sure? I mean, I don't. It's not like I'm following international women's basketball, so I don't really know all of that. But I do think that it's interesting that you're okay with putting in your mind, and I even think that Caitlin Clark is probably better than you do. It's interesting to me that you don't think she's one of the best 12 players, but yet you want to put her on the roster. Like, that seems counterproductive to what the
No, that's what I'm
are.
saying. Make the marketing decision. It's not, make the marketing decision. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Why?
Don't make it about.
Why?
Because she will grow the sport in a way.
She already has. Does she have to be
you're
the flag bearer for everything for women's college basketball?
No.
She's been in the WNBA for like a month. She doesn't have to have that burden on her shoulder at every step along the way. She doesn't have to. I think if I'm her, I'd love to compete for a gold medal. I'd love to be a part of the women's, national team and all of that. But there might be a small part of me, if I'm her, that is maybe taking a little bit of a sigh of relief. Like, okay, I can catch my breath a little bit. I don't have to, focus on this as well as being a rookie in the WNBA, as well as being maybe the most famous athlete in the world right now. I don't have to do all of it at the same time. I can take the pressure of joining the Olympic team off of my shoulders, at least right now. The timing isn't great. It's not right.
Yeah, but she
I'll
wanted
there
to be
in
there.
4 years.
She said she
did.
wanted to.
I know she did, but I'm just saying, like, subconsciously, if I'm her, I'm thinking, do I have to carry that banner for everything for women's college basketball? And maybe you do. Maybe that's the price that you pay for
I think it is.
the fame that you've got. But I don't know. Yeah, you're missing out on competing for a gold medal, but
she doesn't want, I'm not saying like the fame isn't something she desires. It's just there. She embraces it. Fine. Just for perspective on why I don't think there's any danger. The U.S. women's national team has lost 2 Olympic games, Tommy, since 1986. They haven't lost one in the last 4 Olympics. Internationally, I don't know what happened in 2023. I'll plead ignorance there, where they finished in silver in some FIBA event. But other than that, they hadn't lost a game internationally in these competitions since 2007. They're not going to lose in the Olympics. They're going to be fine. Their point differential is a joke. It's like, what did they over 6 games? It was 116 points. So they're averaging, and that was the lowest it's been. They averaged a 20-point victory in 2020. The year before that, they averaged a 30-point victory every game. So they're not in any danger. Make the marketing call. Don't let and that's, I'm telling you, I love, because it's either one or the other. You're either like, make the best basketball decision or just make the best marketing decision. I love that Kornheiser put it that way, because I totally agree. And again, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think it's just your preference. And I just want to continue to see this momentum. I think it's awesome. I think it's so fresh, because I don't know that we've seen it since Jordan. Mike says on our video stream that she's the female version of Michael Jordan. He wasn't great until the team got better players. He was great. Go back and look at his rookie year. The Bulls weren't great. He was great. And she will get better players, and the Fever will be better, and she'll develop as a player. It's got to take time. It's, the timing of this is unfortunate if you wanted Caitlin Clark, I suppose, on Team USA, because she is stuck on the worst team in the league and trying to learn the ropes that way. And there's a lot of pressure and all these things. USA will be fine. They'll just have fewer eyeballs. If you're okay with that, then great. 869-1240. What do you think? Let's jump back into the Royals, Tommy. Let's look at tonight's game. It will be a big moment for Brady Singer, the biggest of this season. There's no question about that. Can he step up to it? We'll go back and sort of look at all his starts this year and what he's been able to do and try to forecast that into a Yankees game. 869-1240. Sports Daily coming right back.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy. have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily here on KFH. Jacob Albracht, Tommy Castor. 869-1240 is your number to call. You can also leave us your comments on our video stream, which you'll find on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. All right, let's set up our giveaway for this hour. It'll be a fun one. The Wichita Open. Activities all week long. How about a fan zone ticket for you? You can enter this once per day, and all you have to do to enter is text the keyword golf to the short code 20357. Again, that's golf to 20357. These are for tickets to the Wichita Open's fan zone. I've been told it is a blast. We will be out there Thursday and Friday doing the show live. We'll have a lot of golf-themed things going for you out there live. Stop by and say hi, but enter now to win your chance to win. Golf to short code 20357. Good luck, everybody, on that. All right, the Royals, Tommy, tonight. Royals baseball on KFH. You'll hear it there. You'll hear it on the Odyssey app. It's the Yankees. This is going to be tough. I don't know what to expect out of Brady Singer tonight. Brady Singer is, he's hittable, and he's always been hittable, right? Like, that's kind of his thing. He navigates the traffic well. But in his last, I'll just sort of run down his last games. 9 hits in 3 2/3, 4 hits and 2 walks in 5 innings, 6 hits and a walk in 6 innings, 9 hits and a walk in 5 innings, 5 hits and 2 walks in 5 1/3. Like, he just has traffic. That's a part of his thing. That, to me, seems really dangerous when you're playing a team like the Yankees. In an offense like that, to know that that's because traffic is what bit Seth Lugo in the butt last night, and he doesn't normally do as much of that as Brady Singer. So I would say this is a pretty daunting task tonight, just stylistically with Singer. But I love the challenge for him, and one of the things that I love about Brady Singer is he's a gamer, right? Like, he gets out there and he gets fired up for these moments and these spots. He wears his emotion on his sleeve a little bit. And look, I'll tell you this. I'm looking at ESPN Bet right now. It's not a heavily weighted underdog. I mean, they're plus 125. That's just slightly ahead of where they were yesterday. So take that for what it will. But to me, on paper, this seems like a tough one. And if you're going to take the Royals to win, it's probably like a shootout kind of a game if you think it'll get there.
Marcus Stroman pitching tonight for the Yankees. He's had a pretty solid season. He's 5-2.
Yeah, he's been pretty
in
good.
ERA just over 3. I'm not sure that a lot of people really expected that. I mean, I know that he's been a good pitcher for a long time, but I remember he was out on the free agent block for a while before a team picked him up. And I just don't know if there was that expectation that he would be what he is right now for the Yankees. The only thing that I can see based off of the way that Stroman has pitched this year is that you want to talk about Brady Singer allowing traffic. Marcus Stroman, his whip is higher than Brady Singer's is. And so Stroman allows a lot of traffic as well on the base paths. The Royals have to take advantage of that. They had multiple opportunities last night to drive in runs. They had runners in scoring position in multiple innings, and they weren't always able to convert. Bobby Witt Jr. had a triple that, drove in a run, and there were a couple of other, I think there was one other situation where that happened, but there was a lot of traffic last night. Royals had runners in different places, and there were opportunities that presented themselves, and they weren't always able to drive in those runs. They've got to do a better job at that tonight, because we know that Stroman will allow those base runners. The Royals have to convert them into runs.
Yeah, I mean, timing maybe. I mean, the thing with the Yankees is they've just got a little more juice up and down. But the Royals, again, we've talked about this, have one of the best offenses in the American League. Third best, I think. Isn't that where we put it yesterday?
Yeah, and look, you're right. From top to bottom, their lineup is pretty stacked. Even last night without Judge and Stanton in the lineup, it's pretty solid from top to bottom. The Royals isn't quite as balanced, I guess. But keep in mind, it was, I don't remember what inning it was, 7th inning. It was the same inning that Bobby Witt Jr. had his triple. Salvi struck out to end the inning with runners in scoring position, so it's not just the bottom of the lineup that has to come through. When you've got runners in scoring position, you've got to bring them home.
And they've been good at that all year. I would say the over-under on this game right now is
9.5 is what I see.
9.5. That's high. Gosh, that's high. Vegas is telling you they think runs are going to be scored in this game. That's high. I don't know that I'd bet that. But I wouldn't bet the under. I'll put it that way. I probably wouldn't bet either, but I definitely wouldn't bet the under. What about last night, Altavilla? And I don't know what he did in the minor leagues, but he sure as heck was impressive last night. He's older. I think I heard on the broadcast he hadn't pitched in the big leagues in 3 years. Gets called up and has that kind of an inning.
Yeah, 1,100 days.
So I don't know. Like, I have no idea what to make of that. Not a clue. And I'll try to pull up his. Let me try to pull up his minor league numbers this year while we
so I've got them. So in the 24 games that he pitched for Omaha this season, 2.63 ERA, 30 strikeouts and 3 saves across 27 1/3 innings pitched. So pretty solid. I mean, an ERA under 3 with more strikeouts than innings pitched and a couple of saves for Omaha. He's worked his way back to the majors. And I remember when he pitched, I believe he was with
Boston?
The Padres, maybe. No, I don't think he pitched for the Reds. I don't think he pitched for Boston. So he was with Seattle and San Diego. Those are the two teams that he pitched for in baseball. He was drafted by the Mariners, by the way, in the 5th round. So he had some juice behind him. He had some expectations behind him. He was a quality reliever for a couple of years in the bigs. Injuries bit him, and he's worked his way back. Hadn't pitched in a major league game in 1,100 some days. And it was good to see him come in and he was pretty lights out in that one inning that he pitched for Kansas City.
He's had a good year in the big leagues, a good year. In 2018, he pitched in 22 games with a 2.61 ERA. Other than that, hadn't been much. So we'll see. But look, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed at the deadline to go find the kind of peripherals you're seeing there from him right now. So why not? Keep putting him out there. Keep running him out there. Maybe you catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe he's found something. That's the hard thing about bullpens. We talk about this. Bullpens are the most unpredictable thing. There aren't many things in sports more unpredictable than a bullpen because it changes from year to year. You could go, you might have this lockdown bullpen in one year, and then the next year it falls apart on you. Look at volatility. That's what makes Mariano Rivera one of the more incredible baseball players of all time, is because it just lasted forever at a position. It almost never lasts forever. And so maybe Altavia is awesome the rest of the season, but I would do this if I were the Royals. I'd be putting him in every big spot I could to find out before the deadline comes around. And you want to go trial by fire? Hey, guess what? You're going to have 4 appearances between the Yankees and Dodgers over 7 days. Let's see how you handle it. That's what I would do. Now, you got to be careful there, too, if you're protecting a lead or whatever. But last night was the perfect opportunity for Cotraro to put him in. You're trailing. Here's your spot. Go keep it close for us. And that's what he did. But was it certainly a sort of like an eyebrow raising, like who is this guy? They pulled him in. And I'm like,
and there are
I hadn't heard that name in forever.
There are things that Cotraro is doing, and he did it last night, that I think are really important and that are going to be important as this series continues and the Dodgers series happens this weekend. And that is Seth Lugo going for 7 innings. Even though he wasn't pitching great.
Oh, sure.
Even though he gave up 4 runs, didn't have his best stuff. It wasn't, typical Seth Lugo that we've seen this season. He left him in that ball game for 7 innings. And the 2 relievers were Altavia, who hadn't pitched in the majors in 3 years, and Sam Long, who pitched an inning. You didn't bring in anybody else. Didn't see Will Smith, didn't see Hernandez, didn't see Zerpa, didn't see MacArthur, didn't see Stratton, didn't see any of the normal relievers, because you've got 3 more games against the Yankees and 3 games against the Dodgers this weekend. And so I thought that was really smart. And that's something that I think gets overlooked a lot, is at the very beginning of a long, tough series and a long, tough stretch, the importance of getting innings out of your starter and not wasting innings on your bullpen. And I think that the faith that Cotraro had in Lugo, like, look, we know you don't have your best stuff. We know you gave up 4 runs. Just keep it at that if you can. Yeah. We'll try to do what we can offensively to get back in the game. And they did. But we're not going to burn our relievers in this first game when we've got 3 more against this really good team. And then we go on the road to take on Los Angeles this weekend. I thought that was really smart, because now you've got fresh arms in that bullpen for tonight and moving forward.
It's a good point. Lugo did a really important thing last night. Tommy, the next 3 games, you've got Singer, Lynch, and Marsh. What did Lynch give you in his last game? An inning, 2 innings, whatever it was. Yeah. And Singer gave you 3 2/3.
Yep.
Like they're going to need the bullpen no matter what.
And I think it would have taken
at least 2, if not 3 games.
It would have taken an absolute disaster, I think.
They would have let Lugo. They would have let Lugo give up 6 runs over 7 innings if they could, if
but
they
I
needed to.
I heard grumbling. Like, I saw grumbling on social media last night during the game of people that are like, Lugo doesn't have his best stuff. What are we doing leaving him in the game? Pull in, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it doesn't matter, because this is the start of a really, really long stretch and tough stretch.
Yeah.
You've got to keep that bullpen fresh as this week and weekend goes on.
Do you want the B or even C version of Seth Lugo, or do you want a middle reliever out there? What do you think is going to go better?
Give me the C version of Seth Lugo for 7 innings.
And the other thing was with Lugo last night, did he give up an extra base hit? Like, I don't think he did. It really was like, it was death by paper cuts. He gave up a bunch of singles, and it wasn't ever, it was very Brady Singer-esque, right? Like, it was sort of like a Singer start. And honestly, they'll probably give Singer the same sort of leash if they can tonight, because I know that it sucks to hear it, and I don't even like saying it, but I do believe it, and I have for a while. You just have to sort of survive this week. You just got to get through it. This isn't the time to test the Royals, long term. Like, this isn't. We're not going to look back on June 10th through the whatever it is, 17th, and say, this will be the stretch that tells us what we need to know about the Royals. Not going to happen. This isn't the best version of the Royals. Not even close. This just isn't going to be that stretch. So survive it. That stretch comes much later. That stretch, I think we saw much earlier in the season. We have seen the best version of this team. It's not going to be right now. So just survive it. And yeah, that might mean you leave Lugo out there to get knocked around a little bit. Might mean you leave Brady Singer out there to get knocked around a little bit. I'd love if they didn't, but it's okay if they do. It's not, again, this is not a week that's going to tell the story of this Kansas City Royals magic season. What you hope is it doesn't kill their chances to tell that story because they get too far behind the Guardians, who are playing nobody right now. And that's the other piece of it. You can hear the game tonight on KFH. I don't think I'm nervous about it, Tommy. I just am nervous about the worst possible outcome over the entirety of the week. But whatever. Like, we'll see how it goes. What do you think, Royals fans? You can leave us comments on our video stream as well. Don't forget our text contest to win right now is going this hour. It is for Wichita Open Fan Zone tickets. 20357, the keyword golf. More NFL wide receiver drama, the most drama-filled position in the league, maybe even more than quarterback. Is it even worth the time? We'll talk about it next on Sports Daily.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy. We have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club, which will, of course, host the Wichita Open this week. It is one of the times that Crestview has a chance to put itself on display. So get out there, check out the Open, check out the facilities while you're there. Great restaurant, all the good stuff that Tommy and I enjoy about being out at Crestview. And you get a look at the things that we talk about here. And you can win a chance to get out there to the Wichita Open Fan Zone by texting the keyword golf to 20357 right now. Speaking of golf, Tommy, my goodness, and we'll talk about this, the U.S. Open. I'm just seeing some videos of how I love that about the Open, that it's just absolutely ridiculous. But it looks ridiculous, like it will be ridiculous this year. So we'll get into that later in the week. Real quick, I'm seeing Jamar Chase reports to Bengals camp. T. Higgins doesn't report to Bengals camp. Tommy, this is becoming a fascinating case study in the NFL. We hear all the time that rookie quarterback contracts are the ticket. Yet if you look at the history of Super Bowls, it's not very often that it's a quarterback on a rookie contract, that the Super Bowl winner is in that circumstance. And then if you see all the big money being paid to receivers and then go look at receiver contracts, every circumstance is different. But if you've got a quality quarterback, Tommy, I really think right now in the league, we're seeing the trend is you win Super Bowls on rookie receiver contracts with paid quarterbacks, because we're going to see the Bengals face two tough decisions now with Higgins and Jamar Chase. They got to pay two guys. They're not going to, I don't think. I say that, though, but the Dolphins and Eagles have both paid two guys, so maybe they will. But I don't know that that's the ticket. I think it's pay your quarterback and have rookie receivers at this point.
I mean, you think that, but at the same time, wide receivers are getting bags of money this offseason. Like, it's a big deal. Like, they are getting paid. I mean, guys like Jalen Waddle and others have gotten just bags of cash. Justin Jefferson, the most recent one, to have that happen. So I understand that philosophy, but at the same time, there are other teams that are saying, look, we'd rather pay our wide receivers. We'd rather pay Justin Jefferson. We'd rather pay Jalen Waddle.
The Dolphins.
It hasn't
yet. The Dolphins going to win a Super Bowl this year?
It hasn't yet.
No? Are the Eagles maybe?
It hasn't yet. Maybe.
Are the Vikings going to win a Super Bowl, Justin Jefferson?
I would probably say no at this point. I mean,
yeah.
so
what I mean.
But I mean, and we've had this conversation before. Was it maybe Cooper Kupp the last time that a wide receiver?
He got paid after. He got paid after.
True.
So if you go back, I think, because I've done this, I think it's Mike Evans.
Okay.
Was the last big contract receiver to win a Super Bowl. And of course that didn't happen until Brady got there, but Mike Evans was a highly paid receiver when that happened. I think that's it. Debo has been there twice. I think only one of those two times he was paid. So but we've seen guys get there, right? Just like we've seen rookie quarterbacks get there, but when you look at the Super Bowl winners, and we know all the things that we know, and I've gone through and told people a million times, you basically have to have Hall of Fame quarterback to win a Super Bowl in this league. We're worried about quarterbacks on rookie contracts. I wouldn't worry about that. I'd worry about these receivers. It just has never really translated in the NFL historically.
So why are these wide receivers getting paid then?
Because teams know that the quarterbacks have to be good to give them a chance, and so they want to do everything. Here's the team here's the team I'm the most fascinated by with all of this is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo let Steph Diggs go. They let Gabe Davis go. They didn't want to pay either one of those guys. Now they're bringing in a bunch of young receivers. They have the elite quarterback on a big contract. They will be the case study here. They've got one of the best quarterbacks. They chose not to pay their receivers. That's what the Chiefs did. They chose not to pay their receivers, and they rolled with a high-paid quarterback. I am really curious to see how this works for the Bills. You have the other, you have this Stroud and now J.J. McCarthy thing where you're trying to surround the young player with more talented and expensive. Same thing with Caleb Williams. So we're going to have the Chiefs are already a case study, but it may be unfair because Mahomes is maybe the greatest quarterback that's ever played. So that's probably unfair to look at it that way. So what you'll have is, you've already had the Jalen Hurts situation, so you don't get that one anymore.
Did Justin Herbert get paid? He did, right? Didn't that happen this offseason? So you won't have that one anymore. So Hurts is paid. All these guys are paid of the young quarterbacks, basically, that we can look at. So now you're going to have the next wave, right? You're going to have Caleb Williams with all this talent around him, expensive talent. You're going to have J.J. McCarthy with all this expensive talent around him. Like, can any of those guys get it done? And then you have C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is the closest, I think. And they went out and they invested in Steph Diggs. They've drafted a bunch of receivers. They paid Nico Collins, and they'll have Stroud on his rookie contract. Let's see if it pans out. I don't know. I just think for all the talk we get about, got to have a quarterback on a rookie deal. God, no, you don't. It's been a long time, and it was Patrick Mahomes the last time we saw a quarterback on a rookie deal win a Super Bowl. They get there, but they don't win it.
The only teams that are saying that, or the only people that are saying that about quarterbacks being on a rookie deal, are the ones that have spent a lot of money in other places, and they know they don't have the money to pay the quarterback once the rookie deal is up.
It's a fine idea. Of course, having an inexpensive quarterback is an advantage.
I mean, look at the Niners would be an example of that. They've got Brock Purdy at
almost
quarterback,
had
right?
the least expensive quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl.
And you
almost,
end up
and they would have had highly paid
CMC, Kittle, Ayuk,
They didn't get it done. And that's what I mean. Mahomes may be the elephant in the room that's throwing all of these things off. Like, if it weren't for Mahomes, we'd have had, the Eagles have the rookie quarterback thing. The 49ers would have had the rookie quarterback thing. Joe Burrow could have been on the rookie quarterback thing. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. I just think the receiver part never gets talked about. Inexpensive receivers are also a key, or at least history tells us they are. 869-1240. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up here on Sports Daily on a Tuesday. Don't go away.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
have more than 25 flavors. Come try them all for free.
All right, that'll do it for us. We're getting closer and closer to Wichita Open. We will be live out at the Open Thursday and Friday. Stop by and say hi. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be hot. We're going to be sweating it out there. I'm sure it'll only be, probably about 89 and muggy by the time we're on the air.
Perfect Wichita Open weather. It's what we just come to expect.
Jad will be just nice and chilled out and relaxing in the studio, nice and cool with the AC blaring. But we'll have fun. Come out and see us this week. You got Royals baseball and KFH tonight. Bob and Jeff here locally. We'll see you tomorrow.